My coworker kept stealing my pens, so I started refilling them with glitter ink. So I, 28F, work in a mid-sized office where most of us share a big open workspace. It's not exactly a cubicle farm, but each desk has a semi-divider, so you get some privacy. I keep a little organizer on my desk with my essentials, pens, highlighters, sticky notes, you know, the usual. Nothing fancy, just my way of keeping things tidy. The problem started with my pens. Now, I know what you're thinking, they're just pens, who cares? But hear me out. I'm a bit of a stationery nerd. I don't buy the standard black ballpoint junk the company bulk orders. I like smooth gel pens, ones that don't smear when I write notes or highlight documents. They're colorful, precise, and, most importantly, they're mine. About 6 months ago, I noticed pens started disappearing. At first, I thought I misplaced them. I'm human, it happens. But it became too consistent. Every couple of days, one would vanish. A blue pen one week, a purple one the next. Eventually, half of my set was gone. I started paying closer attention, and soon enough, I realized what was happening. My coworker, let's call her Melissa, 32F, was the culprit. Melissa has this entitled vibe. She's the type to treat communal snacks as her personal buffet, or borrow your stapler and never return it. She always acts like she's doing you a favor just by acknowledging you. And she loves talking about how she's so disorganized, like it's some quirky personality trait. One morning, I walked in early and caught her red-handed. She was standing at my desk, digging through my organizer like it was her personal supply closet. She didn't even flinch when I came in, just smiled, twirled one of my pens in her hand, and said, "Oh, you don't mind if I borrow this, right? You always have so many. Borrow. Borrow." Spoiler alert, Melissa has never returned a single pen she's taken. At first, I tried being polite. I asked her to stop taking my stuff. I even labeled my pens with my initials. She laughed and said, "Relax, it's just a pen. You can buy more." Meanwhile, she had a literal desk drawer full of MY missing pens. I know because I saw her using a pink one during a meeting that mysteriously disappeared from my desk the week before. It got to the point where I started keeping a backup stash in my purse just to survive the workday. But the irritation kept building. It wasn't about the pens anymore, it was about the principle. This woman felt entitled to my things, and no amount of polite confrontation was getting through. That's when I decided, if Melissa was going to keep stealing from me, I might as well make it entertaining. I went home that night, dug through my old art supplies, and found my answer: glitter ink. Once I had the idea, I couldn't let it go. It wasn't just about teaching Melissa a lesson, it was about reclaiming my sanity. I still had a pack of refillable gel pens at home, along with a bottle of liquid glitter ink I'd bought ages ago for scrapbooking. The stuff was ridiculously sparkly, like if a unicorn sneezed onto paper. I grabbed a couple of my pens, carefully drained the regular ink, and refilled them with glitter ink. They looked totally normal from the outside. Same pen body, same color caps. But the second you started writing, boom. Sparkle explosion. The ink didn't just glisten, it spread. And, because glitter has a life of its own, it didn't stay confined to the page. It smeared onto fingers, clothes, and even the desk if you weren't careful. I brought 3 glitter-loaded pens to work and placed them neatly in my organizer like bait. And then I waited. It didn't take long. Melissa swooped in mid-morning, just like clockwork. She came over while I was refilling my water bottle and borrowed one of the pens. By the time I returned, she was already scribbling notes with it during a call. I sat at my desk, pretending to type an email, while inside I was buzzing with anticipation. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, she started frowning. She pulled her hand back and noticed her fingers were covered in little flecks of silver and blue glitter. She wiped them on her blouse. Big mistake, the glitter smeared and stuck like glue. By lunchtime, her entire hand sparkled like she'd just walked out of a kindergarten art project. She looked frustrated, kept rubbing at it, but every time she touched something, it spread. Her notepad was glittery. Her keyboard was glittery. At one point, she brushed her hair back and left a streak of shimmer across her cheek. The best part? Everyone noticed. Melissa, are you sparkling?" one of our coworkers asked during a team meeting. Melissa laughed nervously, clearly embarrassed, and muttered something about her cheap makeup. But the glitter kept spreading. By the end of the day, her desk looked like a disco ball had exploded. And me? I just sat there, quietly writing with my real pens, keeping the most innocent smile on my face. Melissa never suspected me, not at first anyway. Because the next morning, she stole another one. By the next morning, Melissa was still glimmering faintly. That's the thing about glitter, it clings to life like a stage 5 clinger. Soap barely makes a dent, and office bathroom paper towels? Forget it. They just smear it around. So when she strutted in the next day, I noticed the faint shimmer still on her hands and the collar of her blouse. I almost felt bad, almost. But then she borrowed another pen. I had left 2 more glitter bombs in my organizer, strategically positioned to look like my favorites. Melissa grabbed one without hesitation and spent the morning jotting notes during calls. This time, the glitter was pink with gold undertones. Absolutely gorgeous on paper. On skin and clothes? A nightmare. By 10 a.m., she looked like she had personally wrestled a fairy. Glitter was all over her blazer, her hands, and best of all, her brand new white keyboard. Her desk was radiating sparkles like a beacon. That's when she started getting suspicious. I caught her glancing over at me several times with narrowed eyes. At one point, she even came by my desk, pen in hand, and asked, "Hey, did you get new ink or something? My notes look weird." I played dumb, tilted my head, squinted at her notepad, and said, "Huh, that's strange. Maybe it's a defective batch? You know how these companies are." Then I casually pulled out my regular pen from my purse and scribbled something completely normal on a sticky note. She didn't say anything, but the way she frowned told me she didn't quite buy it. By the afternoon, the whole office was in on it. People kept joking about Melissa's glam phase and asking if she was going to Coachella after work. She laughed it off, but I could see her growing more and more irritated. The cherry on top? During our weekly staff meeting, our manager glanced at her sparkly notepad and said, "Melissa, that's festive." I had to fake a cough to hide my laugh. The next day, though, things shifted. When I came into work, I noticed Melissa wasn't at her desk yet. But my organizer had been moved. Subtly, like someone had been rifling through it and tried to put it back. And that's when I realized Melissa wasn't just suspicious anymore. She was trying to catch me. By the time Friday rolled around, I was almost too excited to come into work. My little experiment had turned the office into a low-stakes soap opera. Every day, Melissa was shinier than the last, and every day, she got snippier about it. That morning, I noticed right away, she had already been at my desk before I got in. My organizer looked too neat, like someone had gone out of their way to make it look untouched. Sure enough, when I sat down, 2 pens were missing. Both of them were the last glitter-filled ones I'd prepped. One was loaded with neon green shimmer, the other with holographic silver. I didn't even have to wait long. By 9:30, Melissa was fuming. Her hands looked like she'd been finger painting with mermaids, and the green glitter ink had smeared all over a stack of forms she was supposed to hand to our manager. Her clean desk now looked like a Pinterest craft fail. Finally, she snapped. She stormed over to my desk, waving the glitter pen like it was Exhibit A. "Are you doing this on purpose?" she hissed, glitter flecks literally catching the fluorescent lights as she pointed the pen at me. I leaned back in my chair, kept my voice calm, and said, "Doing what?" "This." She shoved her sparkly notepad under my nose. "Every time I use one of your pens, this happens. You're setting me up." The whole office went silent. People were peeking over dividers, trying not to laugh. I raised my eyebrows and replied sweetly, "Melissa, you do realize you've been stealing my pens, right? I never gave them to you. You take them without asking, and then you get mad about how they write? Maybe if you stopped going through my things, this wouldn't be a problem." There was a beat of silence, and then laughter. Not just a giggle, but full-on belly laughs from 3 different coworkers. One even clapped. Melissa's face went red, glitter dust making it even more dramatic. She sputtered something about office supplies being communal, but no one was buying it. My manager actually leaned over from his office and said, "Communal supplies are in the cabinet, Melissa. If you're taking things from people's desks, that's on you." She huffed, marched back to her glitter-coated desk, and didn't speak to me for the rest of the week. The best part? She never stole another pen from me again. And every now and then, when I see a stray fleck of glitter in the carpet near her desk, I smile. Because somewhere, deep down, Melissa is probably still sparkling. If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.